We are Quick and Nerdy. This is Stephanie.
Nerdy. And there's Quick and David.
Anyway, we're here to review Alan Wake for our first show.
Alan Wake is a writer who goes on a writing retreat with his wife Alice to Bright Falls.
Bright Falls.
She goes missing, and he has to find her, all the while finding manuscripts from a story he doesn't remember writing, but everything in it is coming true. So all this weird stuff happens, like townspeople that have been kind of consumed by darkness are chasing him, and you fight using light, and light is your savior and your weapon.
Light and revolvers. And so let's segue into the gameplay.
Which I know nothing about, because it was David who played it.
So the game controls alright. I did find it a little awkward at first in that there was no laser sight aiming, trying to break them out of the darkness before you shoot and kill them. It was pretty interesting. It was pretty stressful in that there'd be 5 guys around me and you can't do anything about it because you have to break all of them down first.
The episodic format was really excellent.
It was great.
Seen it before in Lost Via Domus.
Licensed games, crappy.
But it had the same format in that you play through an episode and then at the beginning of the next one you get a recap. The recap, I think, was a really good touch, and the episodes were a really good length, so you know there's always a place to stop.
The licensed music used at the end of every episode, also pretty nice.
I'm pleasantly surprised by the use of licensed music.
Yeah, it was a good variety.
Alan Wake.
So the episodic format, pretty good. We liked it. Use your items, because at the end of every chapter, they take it all away. Just use them, they're fun to use.
Going off from the music a little bit, the sound design in the game?
So good. Especially when you're playing surround sound. Everything sounds like it's breathing.
Whenever you would go and open up these hidden cache, you'd hear kind of a and then David's like, who's breathing? It was effective.
The darkness breathed as well. Really scary stuff. I didn't like it.
I thought the acting was pretty good.
The acting was good. There's certain characters that were really memorable. I loved Barry.
Alan Wake's agent.
He's so tall. Give him a chance, he'll grow on you.
Although the voice acting was great, the lip sync was baloney. Sometimes it was so distracting.
Hey, Alan.
It would have been a lot more forgivable had the graphics not been so good, because Sarah the Lady Cop looks so realistic. But when you have totally realistic looking character models and they talk like this when they're trying to say something, then it just looks really strange.
My favorite things about the game, the atmosphere, so good. The game makes you afraid without resorting to cheap tricks all the time. Things like, in the distance, that signpost looks like a man. The story, as kind of convoluted as it was, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. Yeah.
It was different. It's interesting. We had like half-hour, 45-minute conversation before this, trying to figure out what the ending was. You'll keep thinking about it for days afterwards, because I really liked the graphics. It was gorgeous, gorgeous game. The manuscripts that you find, the songs, the radio station you can listen to, TV shows you can watch, everything that contributes to Bright Falls makes it feel all the more realistic.
What I didn't like about the game, I didn't like the whole poltergeist enemy thing. There are objects that can be possessed, start floating up, then they fling themselves at you. I wasn't a fan of those enemies because they're really, really easy, because if you walk behind a pole, they can't get to you. The pole will not break and they will just keep ramming into it. I also didn't like the fact that they kept taking away my stuff at the end of every chapter. Why doesn't Alan just take everything with him? I don't understand.
He's a writer. Something I didn't like about the game is that so many of the levels took place in forests. I mean, it made sense to the story, but I would have liked a little more variety, I think.
It made sense to the story only because the story kept putting you into forest, though.
I'm just being nitpicky.
When it wasn't a forest, it was pretty cool.
How about an overall impression? Are we gonna give it a number?
I don't like giving it a number.
5. Okay.
5 out of Flashlight. I found it to be an excellent horror game. Not a lot of good horror games out lately, especially with Resident Evil 5 going into the whole action genre. I need more horror in my horror games, and Alan Wake did it very well. It was such a good scary game.
I really like the game. It is so gorgeous, and the story is so refreshing, and the characters are interesting and realistic. I'm a big fan of games that take place in contemporary settings, so I like the game a lot. So that's our review of Alan Wake for the Xbox 360.
Bottom line, good game.